Aloha, everybody. Good morning. Yesterday's stock market session, okay bounce, nothing great. At least we didn't follow through on the selling. However, there were way more negatives overall than positive. My long scans, they don't look that great. My long holdings, half are fine. They're not hitting their stops. I've had to raise them. A third, they're hitting some of their stops. And the other third, they are just dying a dramatic death. So that's not good. It's got to be like they barely fail, but there's just been too many clear-cut failures like Zixi and OTIV today that it's just obvious that there's something wrong. However, I'm still taking long positions because overall all the indexes are above the 50-day moving average. Everything looks good, and despite my mess up with the regional banks, only because I've never had the regional banks ever trade like that since I implemented my stop procedure. In fact, by having stops on the regional banks before, it's cost me money to the upside. It finally cost me a lot of money. Not a lot of money to the downside, but the drawdown was way too big thanks to a few recent new long positions that I went way too big on. I shouldn't have gone that big on them without stops. That's the main thing. PFBC, PPBI, and IBTX drained a lot of the previous gains away, but those three, damn, EGBN, all the other ones too. But that being said, I'm not going to pass on taking along these names if they set up. So CBF, this was a CanSlim quality stock, and you can see right here, this stock is basically bouncing off the previous resistance line of that late February breakout. It's bouncing on heavy volume. Now, yesterday's sell-off was pretty nasty, but it held Max Green bot. Today's bounce was also on above average volume. Like I said, resistance becomes support, and it held Max Green bot. This thing was also confirmed in 3 side scan, one of my volume surge scans, and both of my Green bot scans. Green bot for 20 days, Max Green bot for 5 days. With it being a CanSlim quality stock, I'm going to go ahead and obey the rules, and my rules are you got to take it long. So CBF, technically, 5% of my account capital is going into this name. Limit order at $42. My first stop is very close, $41.15. If that fails, I hope it doesn't pull all the way back to where my next stop is currently, $40.35. Where is it? That low right there. However, that's the low right now because the 50-day moving average is below $40.35. If CBF fails that first stop but does not fail the second stop and the 50-day moving average gets above $40.35, the 50-day moving average becomes the final stop, similar to the way TRUE is being worked right now. As it moves up, my first stop is still the same, but it's been, at first it was the gap fill down here, but as the 50-day moving average is caught up, I keep trailing it up to the 50-day moving average, and once the 50-day moving average is equal to this stop, I'll have one stop on the books. So CBF, limit at 42, stop at 41.15, and the second stop for now, 40.35. Very, very nice chart pattern. It's the best looking bank stock out there, and it's the only quality long signal. Nothing else was even close. So CBF is a new long. Now that being said, I got 4 speculative long signals, but one has been dropped. So let's go with the best one. OSUR. OSUR was in my daily volume surge scan, which looks for the stocks that surge on the most volume. Only 9 stocks out of 10,000 made the scan today. OSUR was one of them. It was also confirmed in my price volume BOP scan, and it was also in my new 52-week high on well above average volume scan. And as you can see, when it gapped up, BOP surged back to a high green level, and today with the follow through, BOP surges to max green BOP with that huge volume surge with the high day close. Now, the recent high is 1208, but I don't want to pay more than 1206 because the stock is very extended from its every moving average, much less its 50, but extremely extended from its 200. That being said, OSUR may just want to run to 20 here before it pulls back like some stocks do. So I want to give it a shot. OSUR going along at 1206. My first stop is right below it, 1161. Fails 1161, I'm out. My next stop then for now is 1075. But once again, if it fails 1161 but doesn't fail 1075 and continues to consolidate as the 50-day moving average moves up, once it gets above 1075, the 50-day moving average will become the final stop. But OSUR is by far the best pattern. Then I also want to try a momentum oversold to momentum swing trade with ITEK. ITEK clear cut. It's in my BOP scan. It was in my price volume BOP scan. BOP max green for 5 days scan. Heavy volume bounce off the 50-day moving average with max green bop. Heavy volume already had a previous move after earnings. Want to get long with the limit. It says 173, but I believe this is a 5-cent stock. I do not want to pay 175. I either get filled at 170 or, oh well, it runs without me. I don't want to chase this one. Why? It's not like it has loaded with green and in just big accumulation bars also as it base. There's no accumulation. In fact, I see more little tall red bars. So that recent earnings move also came with the reversal in volume. So if it doesn't move higher immediately, I want to get out. Limit at 170. First stop 160. This low. Final stop 155 this low. So hits 155, I'm out. Hits 150, I'm completely out. Initial profit targets are 195. I think this high here, then 220, then the gap fill at 468. And then I want to add to PTIE, beautiful move following the gap up yesterday. Nice bounce, held support just like OSUR. And initially, just like the initial IMOS long position, but it hit half its stop, but it's holding up for now. But it's the same kind of basic pattern as OSUR. PTIE is holding that gap up. Nice intraday reversal closing near the highs. I want to get long at 103. My first stop is going to be right below these lows at 92. And then my next stop is 83, which is the gap fill right here. So if it fills the gap at 83, I'll be completely out of PTIE. Now, completely out, shouldn't I be long? I gave it as an original long signal back here, and it's up 58% in a very short amount of time. Well, I had my limits here at 61 or 62 because it would have been 1 cent above 61. It pulled back to 62, but guess whose limits didn't get hit? Me. So I'm not long PTIE. This will be my new long position. So once again, limit at 103, stop 92, final stop gap fill 83. Initial profit targets 142, 191, 3, and then 365, this high up here. That's what I'm initially looking for. But PTIE, very pretty chart, but it was only my green bop for 20 days scan because it kind of lost max green bop for this day right here. So it missed the max green bop by 5 days scan barely. And PTIE by closing at 103 and not 104 missed my price volume bop surge scan. So that's why it wasn't confirmed everywhere. But this is a very nice chart. This is a much nicer chart than ITEK. Can you see why? Do you see all the red in 2017? PTIE. Do you see all the green after the end of January? That's why I like this one better. Then finally, HTBX. This was initially a new long position. I love this chart. Once again, I got shaken out right here of the whole thing. So I got small gains overall in the position with HTBX following the initial move because it never could get back up to those old highs. Nice new long signal today. Love the max green bop here. Love the previous green bop. And there's no red bop on this chart but one day. But there's a slight problem. It had a shelf offering after hours. Last time I checked, it's at 99 cents. If it opens below 92, the trade is off. If it can somehow get back up above 92, or is that right? That doesn't sound right at all. HTBX has got to be gapping down lower than that. Let me pull it up on my desktop. Sorry, guys. After hours, HTBX. It's currently at 90 cents. Okay, so that's right. Forget it. So if it opens above 92, I'm going to go ahead and I'll attempt a long position, and that'll give me a first very tight initial sell stop at 92 cents. Because if it goes below 92, I'm going to be out of half. And then my final sell stop was initially the lowest low since it got its max green bop again at 85 cents. But if this thing opens below 92, which right now after hours it's at 90 cents, the trade is completely off. If I do get long, limit order 103, stop at 92, 85 initial profit targets, 150, then 335, and then what is this, 471 up here? No, that's 335. This would be 150. So 150, 335, and then 471 should be right here, the 2016 highs. Yep, 471. All right, I'll see you in the chat room.